B, U. Hey guys, I'm Noctato, and welcome to another panel at Recon. Today we have Reggie Strange from Strange Game Studios, and he is a solo developer that works on many VR titles. And to my left here we have Jason, the Livinator. And he will be helping me with questions and co-hosting. He is from the VR chat channel. And we're just going to jump into it and start asking Reggie some questions and how he goes about his day as a solo developer. So thanks for joining us, Reggie.
Thanks for having
welcome
me.
to Recon. Yeah, for sure. So we're just gonna kind of get into the history of what inspired you to kind of build games in the first place. Like how it all started.
Gosh, I guess if you how did it start? I guess when I was just a kid, my father got a personal computer for me. Back then, you know, I'm a lot older than most of you guys, and back then, personal computers were a lot different than they are today. But I just started playing around with it, and just started, really taught myself how to program on that as a kid. And I guess I just played commercial games at the time and just really wanted to kind of make my own. And so I can remember learning how to program basic graphics at the time, and from there just over the years I just continued to program. And it wasn't until Microsoft created the indie games program, and that really allowed me to actually do it commercially and actually make money off of all the stuff I just played around with. So I guess it really was that indie game sound that really spurred me into actually becoming a real developer, not just a hobbyist or whatever. Having that ability to really produce games, and get them in front of millions of people, which it just really wasn't there before that.
I get. Yeah, it is a good program. Yeah, we we all started somewhere. So you still use that now, or what do you use now?
Well, the Indie Game Channel, I think they shut that down 4 or 5 years ago, but it was basically what jump-started me into being able to do this, for a living, do it full time. I had pretty good success on that, and I used that money to basically invest in some Sony dev kits when the PS4 came out, and I started moving towards PS4 development. And from there, we spent, I guess, the bulk of the PS4's life cycle kind of really getting up to speed on Unity and really, learning the Unity tool set. And we've just now, this past year, branched out into PC development. I really kind of found my niche in the VR world. I guess probably about a year and a half into the PlayStation VR's release, I added VR support to Honor and Duty Arcade Edition. And the response was just overwhelming. And I'm like, my goodness, this is what I need to be doing. There's just so much, interest and enthusiasm here. So, really, I've become more of just a VR-focused studio since that time.
Yeah. VR is definitely the future, and you want to expand off that. Yeah. So,
so, Reg, for the most part, you're a solo developer there. That's got to be challenging, especially making huge multiplayer games. What has that been like for you during your time?
Well, when I was making Honor and Duty Arcade Edition, it was pretty much just me, and I had to rely a lot on Unity assets. And if you look at the original version of Arcade Edition, it was pretty rough. It was a mix and match of various art styles. And after I released the VR update to it, I started, having the ability to kind of bring on some other contractors to help me out. And so, most of it is still predominantly myself, but I've been fortunate to find some very talented individuals who've really helped me to do things I just couldn't have done on my own. I still do 80% of it, but they do key components of things, most notably like in D-Day. The airplanes that fly overhead, just kind of these background ambient sort of effects, were done by one guy, and he helped me. He helped me by doing that, and I never would have gotten that into the game if it had just been me doing it. But being a solo developer, the challenge is you got to do it all. You're handling all aspects of production, and you may be an artist or you may be a programmer, whatever your specialty is, you handle that. But then the challenge is finding other people to do the other parts of it or whatever, fill in the gaps or whatever. But I think probably one of the biggest challenges for people who are looking to do this full time is just the financial side of it, being able to afford to do it. Either you've got to work a part-time job and do this on the side, or you happen to be lucky and maybe get a game that's earning you money and it kind of jumpstarts you. And for me, that was the Xbox Indie program. I mean, there was a lot of developers making really good money on that, and it allowed a number of us to kind of take that step forward. So I guess kind of a long-winded answer.
Oh no. That's that's inspiring on itself. There, I'm sure sometimes I'm sure it's got to be nerve-wracking to hire other people and have the trust in there. But at the end of the result is you get the job done, and it comes out great. So over to you.
Yeah, finding good people is one of the most important things. Being able to weed out. I did have a case where I hired a programmer, and he said he had a lot of experience, and I gave him some tasks, and it was just like the code that came back. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just not what I was expecting, and it was a complete waste, complete waste of money. I paid the guy and just kind of said, I don't really have anything else for you. So, that is the challenge, is being able to spot, good people, and sometimes even people who are talented can have other issues, personality conflicts or egos or whatever. So, it's a real challenge to find that right mix of somebody that's really going to be an asset and not deliver a positive on one thing and a big negative on another side.
True. That is very true.
So, yeah, and so like you've kind of made and created these relationships with these different programmers and stuff. Have any of them like actually wanted to like jump onto the project with you like full time or something like that, or was it more like
it's kind of interesting. Occasionally I do have people reach out and they say, hey, I'm interested in, I'd like to be a part of the project. Recently, Reese, one of our team members, he just approached me. He said, I'm a fan of D-Day. I think it was D-Day he had played. And he said, I really want to be a part of it. So he actually came on board and started helping me with RC Airplane Challenge. And he's done a lot, and he's had to go back to school, so I kind of lost on his time. But yeah, occasionally have people just reach out, and with if they have the right skill set, we try to work them in. But a lot of people I work with, they do the contracting stuff to kind of help pay the bills while they do their own things. I find more of that that it's they're wanting to do their own thing, and this is just kind of a way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely have got several of the guys I would love to bring on full time, when I can. Cameron, occasionally I'll mention him in social media. He's a very talented artist, and he's been with me probably the longest. And he's one of the rare individuals who's a really good artist, but he's also a programmer, and so he's done some programming work. And he's the one I definitely would like to get in there full time. And Boss is probably the second one who's been with me the longest time. He handles a lot of our community manager roles. And he, again, just kind of reached out to me. I think he came on through Reddit and just said, hey, I'd like to help out or whatever. And so he just kind of informally became a part of the team. And now he actually does some art. He's done some of the levels on RC Airplane Challenge. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting how you make some, and sometimes I find people through classified ads if I'm specifically looking for somebody. So it's just kind of an interesting, I found people over the years through a variety of ways, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, like, if any of you out there have any programming or art skills, you can always hit up Reggie, I guess, wherever you can.
Yeah.
Show your stuff.
Opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities, guys. Gotta take them. Yeah. So, to get our next topic, we want to kind of know what history of games you worked on. So how long does it take to normally complete a game from start to finish? Any ones that you're really proud of, or any small,
Okay.
big. So
Well, I'd say probably one I'm most proud of would be Honor and Duty D-Day. That was our, most recent one, and we really did a lot right with that one. Prior to that, as far as how many I've worked on, when I was basically doing the indie games channel with Microsoft, I
think by the time that program ended, I think I had about 13 active games out there.
And, these were small little $1 games. They were, kind of the equivalent of a mobile game, on a console basically. And I had gotten to the point I think I could do one of those within a 3 to 6 month time period. And I'd set my code base up to be very flexible and very modular. So each time I started the next game, I wasn't starting from scratch. I was basically taking that same engine and just maybe adding some features that that this new game might need or whatever. So each game kind of pushed the engine a little further and added more features to it. So by the end of it, I think I could knock out a game in 3 to 6 months. Now, when we went to the PlayStation, I was moving into Unity because they were basically shutting down. I think it was XNA was what we wrote for the Indie Games channel, and so I had to basically make this big transition to Unity, and all my code was basically useless. And so using Unity has really been beneficial because now the next console generation's arrived, I'm not having to do that again. But once I went to the PlayStation, then I did Tina's Toy Factory, which was actually a mobile game I made for Microsoft. They had a program where they were paying developers to make games exclusive for the Windows Phone, and I had a contact and knew somebody at Microsoft and made some introductions, and I pitched a game, and they said sure, and they paid me a pretty good amount to make this game for the Windows Phone, and then they never used it. It was kind of funny in a way. So after the exclusive period was over with Microsoft, I ported that to the PlayStation, kind of used it as a learning thing. So if you ever run across Tina's Toy Factory on the PlayStation 4, that's basically a port of a mobile game we made. And then I did Honor and Duty Arcade Edition, which was the kind of the first real game I did on the PlayStation. And by the time it ended, it was a pretty decent little game. It definitely started a little rough. And then Honor and Duty, D-Day was the successor to that, and that's where we really built the game from the start for VR. And we did 32 player multiplayer vehicles, and basically supported pretty much every controller out there. Aim, move, dual. You could use the aim controller with the move controller, and all sorts of. So we did a lot of neat stuff. And so I really felt like that was a really good game by the time it ended. And we've still got some stuff we want to do to it, but Reese, who was supposed to implement the planes that we've been promising for a while, he unfortunately came down with COVID. So starting at school and getting COVID, he's been sidelined, but he's doing okay. So he should be back to the team. So hopefully after the first year, we'll finally get planes and D-Day. And our next game is RC Airplane Challenge, which is mostly done, and that will hopefully be coming out sometime after the first of the year. We'd wanted to do it around September, but we knew, I was moving in my personal life, and that just really killed my productivity on that studio. So that delayed RC Airplane Challenge. And now that we've just gotten settled into the new house, I was telling Jason just how crazy a week it's been. Hoping to finally get to start developing again, and kind of going back to your earlier question about challenges of being a one-man studio. Things like moving pretty much shuts down the studio.
Yeah.
And
life challenges of building a game.
yeah, just one of the many. And but Honor and Duty Steampunk is probably our most ambitious title, and I have to say that's probably going to be the one I'll end up being most proud of. And we've got some really talented people who've been working on that. It's been in development for over a year, and we've probably easily got another year of development if we get lucky, but it's just a long-term project, and we're not going to rush it, and I think everybody will really be pleased with when it comes out.
Yeah.
Any good tidbits on those games? Any good tidbits on the games, or anything you could tell these guys about the new games that you're developing, or it's up to you.
The RC Airplane Challenge, and one of the reasons it's gotten delayed is as we're getting close to our desired release date, people were asking about multiplayer. So we decided to kind of wait and get a multiplayer added to that, so you'll be able to dogfight. And we should have 32 player, dogfighting with these little model airplanes.
Oh, wow.
It comes with 4 maps and 4 game modes. You can just free fly, or you can play balloon pop, or a ring mode, or a race course, and so a lot of different things. So it's more than just flying little model airplanes. And then Honor and Duty Steampunk is basically going to be a World War II shooter, kind of in a similar way to like how Resistance was an alternate timeline. If y'all remember the old Resistance games, basically in this game there's another race that invades Earth and during the World War II era, and so
just at the end of World War II, this new faction shows up, and they're kind of an industrialized sort of steampunk-esque sort of culture, and so there's a lot of big machines and I think somebody said it was really more of a diesel punk sort of thing, but and we're shooting for 64 player matches, VR and flat mode, PC, PS4, PS5. So a very ambitious title, but we've got plenty of time. We've got a pretty good code base to start from. So we're hoping to have maybe a demo out sometime in the next quarter, and
cool.
let people start trying it out. Yeah,
that just blows me away. I mean, you hit the 32 player mark, which was a thing that I'd never seen done in VR before. But I didn't know this was going to be 64. That is even more amazing. I don't even know how you're doing it, to be honest with you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's 64, but we're really hoping to maybe do 128. So we'll just,
my
I know
God.
they've done 64 on the PC.
My head's going to explode.
It's so crazy. So within the steampunk kind of world, like there's gonna be obviously these weapons and stuff, but like there's vehicles in there too, right? There's gonna be some.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 64 people all going around.
No, he's
with
128
vehicles.
people with vehicles. Can you imagine that?
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, so we'll have some
Very ambitious.
kind of some big walk. The steampunk faction has some giant walkers, and the storyline is they've got this really powerful fuel source that allows them to make these really giant vehicles. And kind of part of the inspiration for that was, I'd watched a documentary on some of the things that the Germans had done towards the end of World War II, and they were working on these giant, massive tanks. That they were really fascinated with this, the big powerful machine. But the problem was they just were running out of fuel. They just couldn't. So if you had a fuel source that was very high energy density, something like that would be feasible. So these Dargalians, that's what they have is the fuel source to make these gigantic machines and such, and really impressive contraptions. So that'll be kind of their sort of thing in the steampunk universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy to just from like mobile to flat screen on the PlayStation, then moving that to VR. Like, I mean, it's just the steps is like evolving up to all these different things, and then building off of that other VR title to make this new one is like, I mean, it all starts somewhere, guys, and then it just builds up more and more. So this is just crazy to me.
Yeah, everything builds on the other. I mean, before I even released a game on the Indie Games channel, I mean, I was just basically playing around with graphics programming, learning how to literally draw a triangle on the screen. And, I remember I used Blender to make like a little tank model, and then I wrote the coding to render that tank, and then I wrote the code to take input and then move the tank. And, and I was really the time I was interested in making middleware. I was really fascinated with like destructible environments, like what they were doing, eventually did in Battlefield. I think Battlefield Bad Company, they had destructible walls. I wanted to do that, so I was like focused on making destructible environments, and I kept adding stuff until the point was like I've actually got a full game here. I started to make middleware and accidentally made a game, and so at that point, I started looking at maybe just doing complete games, and never really did anything with the middleware stuff. But yeah, kind of on to your point, you just constantly build. Start with the basics. Don't try to make a massive game. Try to make a player, and try to make that player move, and make that player carry a weapon. That would be my suggestion to anybody wanting to get started.
Awesome.
Sorry about that, Roger. Had to take care of the extra noise there for you.
The troublemaker.
It seems like there was a little noise there. But, yeah.
Well, I guess this would be the time. Is there anything more that you want to talk about, or if not, we can open up for questions for people here, if you wish.
For a bit, we kind of touched into the two new games that are coming out. How many did they had 32, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, 32 players.
Yeah. So like, I mean, just the jump from the two different things. It's like. How stable things get and stuff. I'm sure you have like a plan for that. How stable the servers will be and stuff with all those players all at once. So
very fortunate, we didn't have too many issues, with stability or whatever. I know a lot of people were frustrated with some of the shooters that didn't have dedicated servers, but we use some middle. We don't run our own server.
servers. We basically, rent, other servers, and we use a really good network back end, so we've never really had too many issues with that. And we're not. I mean, the biggest challenge I think will be in keeping the game running on the PS4 with that many players. So, but we're continuing to get better about our optimization and learning, constantly learning
awesome.
and learning how to do things more efficiently in Unity. So I think by the time we get to that point, the player models may have to be scaled down on the the PS4 side, but that will be the limiting factor. Because on the PC side and the PS5 and everything else, and actually probably the Quest. I haven't done any Quest development yet, so probably Quest 2, PS4 will probably be our more limiting aspects. So that'll be where the real challenge comes.
True.
Okay.
Very true. Yeah. Most from what we hear from most developers, the Quest and the PSVR are definitely most challenging out of everything, especially to make it happen. But I know I'm not going to ask you about PS5 stuff because we'll wait for you to talk about that at a later time if you ever want to. I know that's a hot topic for a lot of people around here. So yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to ask you further on that. But
well, also what I can tell you on the PS5 is that RC Airplane Challenge is slated to come out on the PS5. So there will be a PS5 version of RC Airplane Challenge and a PS4 version of RC Airplane Challenge.
Yeah.
excellent.
That's going to be really for the iron stomachs of VR, I guess. Like, I'm sure you can do flips, right? And that's like, vehicles are one, they're one thing where you're just stable on the ground and you got the turn on the, the different axis, right? But with the plane, you can just, you just go in spirals and it's just whoa, it's a whole different experience. You're going to really have to get your VR legs for that one. Yeah. But make sure you don't stand up. It's just...
A lot of people were asking for a fixed pilot cam. They basically started off with just you're following the airplane, it rolled in front of you or whatever, and then they wanted a fixed view so you felt like you were literally in the cockpit. So we added that, because we made it an option. Sony was okay with it.
Okay.
But let me tell you, it is extremely nauseating. I've been playing it for probably 6 to 9 months now of testing, and I'm just now getting to where, it doesn't. So yeah, it'll definitely be a challenge for those that want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm that guy that'll barrel roll constantly. I'm that guy that'll barrel roll constantly, even though I got vertigo issues, but I still love it. It's still a great feeling. So I can understand why people would ask you for that kind of either. It's great.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, you add pretty much anything people ask. You're one of the 2 people that added a nav controller even on D-Day when people ask you to do it too.
Yeah.
I would. If there was capability for dual aims on there, I'm sure you would have made that happen too as well. But I can only imagine that would be a nightmare for programming that to work on 2 different ones at once with movement. That would be that would be crazy to see somebody actually make that happen. I don't think that is in the cards, but
I'm starting to lose a lot of your audio there, so I'm not sure if you'd ask me something.
Oh. Am I cutting out? Sorry about that.
It must have cut out from all the.
Oh, okay. No, I was just giving you respect. That was it. I was just saying it was amazing. I'm not. Or if you didn't hear what I was saying about the planes, I deal with vertigo, but I still love doing the barrel rolls and stuff. So that's all I was saying there. That's what I was getting into. So if you missed that, it wasn't anything too exciting. Just my own personal preference on stuff there. But did you want? Is there anything else that you want to cover? Or do you want to open up for questions for anybody here? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we do actually have one other game we are working on. It's called Sinner's Sinner's Rest, the Red House, and it's going to be a horror game. And we've pretty much done mostly, first-person shooters. So this is going to be our first experiment in the horror realm. So we've started some initial work on that. We've got our writers already kind of developed a plot for basically an intro sort of beta test of it. So that's actually a 3rd game that's more of a short-term project, unlike Steampunk and RC Airplane Challenge, which were smaller games. So after RC Airplane Challenge releases, that'll actually be our first stab at the horror, and that'll be the next game we work on. So I totally forgot about that one.
You haven't heard about that either?
I never heard about that.
That's a surprise to us too.
Is this the first time you've talked about that, or did I just miss it somewhere else?
I mentioned it to a couple of people, and it's not really anything that you could mention, but it's just we have not actually started promoting it very very heavily. But,
if it's horror, I'm sure you talked to Brian. sure you talked to
Yeah,
Brian
actually,
about the horror game. I'd be the first person I know you'd go to. Excellent.
Actually, I mean, he's one of the reasons we're doing it. I did kind of mention it to him, say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And so he's actually getting some good input on it. I knew he was like the number one horror guy to talk to. So
Right, that's definitely it's the case. And well, we're getting flying pictures.
We're gonna flying pictures.
Wow, that's awesome. I had no idea. That's honestly was the first time I've heard about that. So that was I
mean, what's unique about horror in VR is just trying to get that feeling. The ambience is a big thing with that, and just
Right.
The visuals too is just earring, like creeping up to that point where you get that scare. So like I mean, it's a feat to go at, but I'm glad you guys are doing it because it sounds cool.
I'm not horror chicken. I'm not horror
so we'll
chicken. You just pulled me into phasmophobia the other day.
I know. Yeah.
I'm a 6'4" guy, but I'll scream like a little girl when I get the jump scares out there. So, it's entertaining to others watching for her, but yeah, that's great. That's great, Rich. I feel like I've asked you again if we're going to have anything else. You're going to throw like another game at us right now.
There are 5 games. Like, I mean, you got to remember, guys, it's like he is a solo VR developer, and he's got like 3 games in the bag coming out with, he's coming out. He's working with these other people as well, but like I mean, they're all are they all under Strange Game Studios, or are they under?
Most of the people that work with me don't work with me exclusively. Like Cameron, I think he works primarily with me, but and it's just more just time constraints. I don't think he has time, but I know he did do some actual work on Alvo at one point. He was doing some artwork for them early on. But most like my concept artist, Mel Cummings, she's very talented, and she does work for a lot of people. And so a lot of the vehicles and weapons you'll see from the steampunk faction, came from her. And honestly, the character artist who actually turned the character concepts into actual characters, I think he's working on one of the Hitman games now, I think he said. So he's kind of AAA talent level, and but obviously not exclusive. So there are a couple I would love to get on exclusively, but we're just not that big, to do that right now. So I have to share them.
Well, yeah, that's still awesome that they love to help out. I mean, like I said, you're breaking new ground on a lot of stuff. Cool. So I would be interested to work with you too if I was out there as well. But I can't make games. I can just talk about them. That's my that's my specialty, and play them. That's where I draw my line. But well, I mean, it's honestly I talk to you all the time, but this is blowing my mind today with what you told me on this stuff. I had no idea on a lot of this stuff. So
that's great to hear.
Right.
Just any other surprises you got for us, Reggie, or anything you want to say before we get into questions?
I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. I can't believe I completely forgot about the horror game we're starting. So yeah, no, that should be it. That should be it.
No, so I guess we'll open up for questions. I guess he's ready up there.
So if anyone wants to raise their hand and they have
any questions that
relating to
looks like
stuff.
Alice, I'll let you choose.
Hold on. Just raise your hand. We'll start off with Firebird. We'll just kind of move over. So Firebird. Hold on. Wait. We need
give us 1 second. He's got to give you permission to talk there.
Yeah, Firebird.
Okay, so Reggie, when's your game coming out?
Oh.
When do you think that horror game will be ready?
Because I just moved and I've literally not been able to work for like 2 or 3 months. I'm way behind, so I'm hoping maybe we'll have something out first quarter of next year. It'll come out probably on Steam, early access, and then eventually on PlayStation VR, and all the headsets. So I'm hoping maybe we'll get something out, maybe around March for people to try out.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully not too long.
Yeah,
that's pretty quick.
that isn't too long. That's just a couple months away.
Yeah, hopefully, but delays
like, I mean,
are part of the game industry, so you just never know.
if you always need to delay it back, you can always fall back on the Halloween month. So you know what I mean? It'd be just perfect for that. If
Yeah, if we
it pushes back
get
to
a beta
that.
out, in first quarter, we might actually have a full finished game by, October of next year. So it might work out. So.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right. So anyone else have a question? We're gonna go with Snow, since he's right up front, right there. Snow Wolf. Hold on.
A quick question. Okay, so quick question. So are any of your games like out on console or anything?
Yeah, Honor and Duty Arcade Edition, Honor and Duty D-Day, and Tina's Toy Factory are all on the PS4 right now. And RC Airplane Challenge should release on both PS4 and PS5 in the next few months, hopefully.
And D-Day is the one that's VR, right?
Yeah,
That's
D-Day is the 32-player shooter.
Yep, for VR on the PlayStation. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for your question. Anyone else? Question? ESG, I think his name is. He's over there in the. Hold on. In the cape, all the way on the right, Atlas. He's holding his hand up. He has the blue gloves on.
Okay. So you were talking about like making your own game and shit, and having like artists and stuff. And I've been making my own game, and my main problem now is getting the art for the game, because I mainly use the Unity assets for, but I can't find some of the stuff that I need, and I'm like, I don't know, not that good at modeling myself. So what's like, how do you like get people to like get models from, or do you like recommend getting into modeling yourself or something?
Well,
Good question.
I find that people often are either programmers or they're artists. It's a rare person who's both. So if you're a programmer and you're not an artist, you're probably going to be better off either buying art from from one of the art sites, or just finding an artist to work with you. You certainly can learn to do it, but if you're not artistic, I find that it can be more of a struggle than it's worth. So I would say give it a shot. Blender's a good free tool. There's tons of tutorials. If you find you can make things yourself, great. But if you find yourself struggling and you find you're spending a lot more time, then you may want to take a look at like Turbosquid. I don't know if you're familiar with that site, but they've got a lot of models, and a lot of them are free. And then the Unity Asset Store's got a lot of stuff you can find for free, just for placeholders. So, I guess it just kind of depends on you, how well you take to it. Part of my mistake, well, I wouldn't say it was a mistake so much as, but, one of the things when I did Honor and Duty Arcade Edition was I did some art myself, and unfortunately it just shows, I'm not an artist. So, at the time I kind of didn't have the contacts I have now, so I had to do that. But there's a lot of art sites out there where you can find free models, so you may want to take a look at that. Now, if you're looking for character models, I believe I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think it's Daz. I think has got a character creator tool that you can get, and basically they let you make the character models free, but they make money selling you like costumes and accessories for the model. So you might want to take a look at that for your actual characters. I think it's a free tool, and I think you can get, like I say, a lot of good-looking character models from that. And as far as vehicles go, then you're looking at your traditional routes from the art sites.
Oh,
So hopefully that helps.
Cool. Yeah, because I've basically I needed like some kind of milk thing or something. I made that myself with Blender. It looks pretty okay, but I guess I feel like when I got an artist to do it, it would have been better. So it's kind of right what you're saying.
Yeah. Listen, there's no shame in being a bad artist. It's just I'm always amazed at what a true artist can do, because I just can't do it. And like I say, it's just everybody's got their skill set. And if you're not an artist, then there's no shame in just finding somebody who is, and it'll definitely make a difference in your game. But, also just using placeholder art is fine, You don't need polished art, when the game's in development. You can always make it with the placeholder art, and when it's done, then, you got a complete game. You can say, hey,
try to get some people to invest in it. Say, hey, I've got this complete game, give me some money so I can hire an artist, and then we'll have this game that I can actually make money with. So, but when you have that placeholder art, it is hard to get people excited because a lot of times, you can see past the box that's, the square that's actually supposed to be a car. You can see past that, but somebody else can't. So if you're trying to get investors, it is sometimes hard if you got pure placeholder art. So, anyway, so.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. Good notes, guys. Good notes. To take. Oh, okay. So Ryu is raising her hand. She probably has a question from the stream or just a question in general.
Sure. So I actually do have a question. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is in your, work as a solo developer, especially now when you're starting to contract things out, how are you balancing your work life, balance while developing a game? Like what, do you put yourself on a schedule? Do you just work what you need to get the projects done? What keeps you going?
That's very good.
Are you? I'm sort of having a little trouble hearing you. Were you asking kind of like how I balance all the aspects of developing the game?
Yeah. Work-life balance, and balancing your projects as well, since you have so many you're working on.
Yeah, that is actually a challenge. So I'm probably not the best person to give advice on how to be organized. I'm told sometimes I'm not great at organization, but that's a really tough question to answer. I guess I kind of wing it, but for me, I mean, just making lists of, sometimes I'll find myself making a list of, okay, what is the important stuff I've got to get done right now for this game? What is holding this game up from shipping? And I often maintain a list of everything, bugs and things I want to put in the game. And so I'll find myself often sorting that list by, okay, I'd like to have this. Probably should do this, this is critical. And so, then as I get close to release and I've got that thing sorted by what I have to do. And so I'll do that. So, and then often sometimes, this is bad, but I often just rely on my contractors to get back with me. If I'll say, hey, I need you to do this. And then for me, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. If I don't hear from them, that part of the project makes kind of, I may like, oh crap, I never, heard back from them and I've got to have that now. So sometimes it's just relying on my contractors to be good about getting back with me and letting me know if they, if they're waiting on me or whatever. I should say, that's one good thing is to make sure you let people know, hey, I may be busy. I may, if you don't hear from me, definitely reach back out. Don't just assume I don't need you or whatever, So I'm not sure, like I say, I've given you a good answer to that, but I think it's probably one of the things that whatever, find whatever works best for you. But for me, I think it was, it's kind of list and trying to put some of that workload off on other people, let them know, hey, I need you to do this, and remind me if you haven't heard from me by this date that we need to get this done, sort of thing. So unfortunately, that's probably one of the areas I'm not a real good, person to help with.
Well, I think you asked him what keeps him going too, right? As part of the question. Yeah. What keeps you going, Rich? What fuels that fire?
What keeps me going?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, your audio is cutting out. I'm not hearing anything you're saying.
Yeah. What keeps it going? What's the keeps the fire going? Fire burning.
What keeps the fire going?
What inspires you?
I guess I just really enjoy what I'm doing, and I don't know. It's kind of funny that the start of a project is always the most exciting. It's just something new, and it's funny. It's like you can't wait to work on it, so you're trying to wrap up the last game. And, for me, I guess it's just the excitement of something new and something, my vision and getting it, having it take shape. And then, as you're 90% into it, then you've been playing that game for 9 months, and now you're ready to move on to the next one. And so, you're so excited about it 9 months ago. Now you're just like, it's really work to get it finished, and you just got to buckle down and get it done. And so maybe I guess part of it for me is just that next project that I'm really excited about working on now, kind of helps motivate me to finish up the one I'm working on. But, I hear a lot of people talk about that they get distracted with, a new project. And I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things you've really got to be disciplined on is not just finishing one project before you start the next. But, in our case, we do have multiple projects going, but sometimes that's because, we've got a character artist working on something and he's, it's going to take him 2 months. So that's not holding things up so I can work on another project or whatever. So. I guess when I say make sure you finish one before the other, I guess in our case we kind of don't do that, but it kind of works within our workflow. I mean, we are making constant progress on all three, even though we have started other ones. So.
Wow.
So it's yeah, it's just balancing it all out, and just yeah, like I mean,
Yeah,
it sometimes, I mean, when I'm starting like my own like art projects and stuff, I always have like all these different ideas coming into my head. I'm like, oh well, I want to start this now, and then I almost forget about the other one that I'm already on. It's yeah, it's a thing that's with all of us. But,
Oh yeah, that's for me. That's key. Is like every time I have like an idea, I've got to make sure I write it down because I will forget it if I don't.
yeah,
Put it on my
yeah.
list. So at the end of the game, like I've got like a list, that's probably like 100 items long, and it's always depressing because you get to
Wow.
the end and it's like, okay, it's time to move on. This game is finished, and it's just like all these things I want to do and never got to. So that's sometimes a little sad.
Appreciate the honest answer.
Like I mean, like I'd be excited to see that list of all the ideas because like I mean all the stuff that's coming out sounds like really great. Like the first person horror game and like the airplanes and steampunk, outer world stuff. That just sounds so cool. So.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you've done your research on that too. Any other questions that in the audience?
Yeah. We got two. Okay, so we'll start with Cyberwolf first, and then I think Fusion next.
And
then I think
Heroes Heroes had a question there too.
Yeah, and then I think we got just 15 minutes left.
We'll take it one by one.
Oh yeah, we'll get to the hour. So, so Cyberwolf, what's your question?
My question was, were you like self-taught in 3D design and Blender, or did you find a course or something?
I'm sorry, I had some trouble hearing you. My dog started snoring just as we were talking. She made a lot of noise. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Were you like self-taught in Blender, 3D design, and just modeling, or did you get a course or a class or something?
Oh, I was pretty much self-taught in Blender, but that doesn't really mean I got good at Blender. It just means I was able to. I just did it myself, but I think I probably, we just, and that's been a long time ago since I was actually doing stuff in Blender myself, but I seem to remember, just finding some tutorials and, and just kind of playing around with and experimenting. And so, but no, I've never really done any sort of official, training or anything. So I've always been kind of just self-taught, and that goes back to the even start of my programming career where I just, would just pick it up and just kind of taught myself. So that's just kind of my nature. But yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of good tutorials out there if you're wanting to learn Blender.
Yeah, YouTube. I've seen so many tutorials.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can find on YouTube. I mean, I got started years ago, and when I got started, there was just not that much stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, it was way different back then. There's like nothing on there on these like new things that were coming out, So it's like now it's a lot easier now with all these videos and stuff that built up over time. But thank you, Cyberwolf. Thank you for that question. And I believe Fusion Killer had a question.
And then we got Heroes.
And
I think Heroes
and then
Heroes too.
Heroes? Okay. And then we'll do Heroes after Fusion. So, Fusion Killer, he's the one jumping and he's got a top hat on. Curly mustache.
Okay, there we go. I couldn't see him either. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yep.
Okay, so Mr. Reggie, what gave you like good motivation, or like what made you want to create games in general? Like what made you?
It's funny. I mean, it's a good question because I mean, I never really envisioned myself doing this. When I was young, and this will kind of show my age, my father actually bought one of those arcades in the mall. Those back when there actually were arcades in the mall. And so as a kid, I would go in there and help him when he was going into work to run this thing, and I started playing games at such a young age. And so I just really got my start in gaming at that time, and I just never really thought I would ever make games. I tell people I kind of just fell into it. I started playing around with, as I was mentioning earlier, just learning how to draw stuff and screen, just as kind of just a hobby. And it really was just kind of pure luck that Microsoft opened up their indie games channel about the point that I had actually made a complete game, and so I kind of went into it. So for me, it was just kind of, I don't know, maybe destiny. I just kind of fell into it, never really planned it, never really, had a desire to be a game developer. Just the opportunity was there, and I was lucky and able to make money at it and turn it into a career. So, but nowadays, I mean, you guys have got so many opportunities between, Unity and the amount of support there is for independent developers. So, you guys really have a lot of, options if you want to do it. Back, I guess when I first got into it, it was not as easy as it is today. So I guess maybe that's why I never really thought of it as something I could do, But yeah, just kind of a fortunate turn of events put me here.
Awesome.
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, can you guys stop cheering, please? Thank you. That's all I gotta
Okay.
Appreciate
All
you.
right, you're the man.
Well, it's a level of excitement out there.
Yeah, very much.
Everybody's excited. Everybody's excited about everything you're saying. It's great,
Reggie, what? I'm just gonna ask, what was the arcade game that your father purchased? The machine.
I'm sorry.
You said your father purchased an arcade machine. What was the game specifically that he purchased?
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, an actual arcade.
Yeah.
A whole arcade. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
We purchased many games.
Well, there you go. Yeah, like, I mean, imagine, like, at that age, when you're, like, like, if your dad bought a whole arcade, your mind would be blown and be like, this is, like, I can play all these? It's like, yep.
So that pretty much means you started with circuit boards and wiring and all that kind of stuff, too, right?
Yeah.
Modding that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they were way different than they are now, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were electromechanical. They actually had, like, rotating drums and stuff. I mean, sort of stuff. I think you can still see them at the beaches now. If you go to the beach, a lot of these little arcades on the beach, you'll see these old things, and that's what he had, So that was a long time ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I threw a lot of my quarters back then into those machines. So that's awesome. I'm showing my age too now, Reggie. All right, I think we had Hero still had one out there, right?
Yeah. We'll get Hero Z Saints. Yep.
Okay. Besides obviously Honor and Duty and some of the other games you mentioned today, are there any other like big titles that you had worked on or worked with like in your past?
I'm sorry. I've been having a lot of audio cutting out on my end, and I didn't know.
He was asking if you've done anything besides the games that you've done. He's asking if you've done any popular titles in the past, which I think you kind of already answered the question on that with how you got started. But he wants to know if you've done any like AAA or any other kind of games out there.
Like, I guess jumped on any other
before you started getting into actually doing the mobile games and
Jason,
stuff.
I'm not hearing anything you're saying. I'm seeing your.
Sorry, you're able to hear me, right? Am I good?
Yeah, I hear you. Yours is a little bad.
Okay.
I'm hearing more of what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what it is like, have you worked on any other games that are more like, I guess, AAA with any other companies? I guess was the question. Pretty much jumping on those, other than the games you mentioned. But I'm sure you mentioned something.
No, I've really been on my own. I've had a few people reach out to me to help with projects. Nothing really big. Let me think. No, really, it's been mainly just my own things. Let's see. No, not really. Like I said, I don't think there's really been any sort of AAA stuff. I mean, I've got people who have worked on AAA games that are working with me, but myself, no, I haven't done anything really at that level. Maybe one of these days I'll get well known enough that somebody might ask me to help out with a project, but that hasn't happened yet.
I'm sure it will come because your talent is
hopefully
100%, man. It's really cool.
Oh,
all right, well, sure. Yeah, definitely. So we're pretty much close near our end of our panel here, our little event. So I just want to thank Reggie from Strange Game Studios for joining us. Thank you so much, man. And thanking the audience here and my other host here, Jason, for helping me out and stuff from Chat Show, Bureau Chat Show.
So one more thing. If you guys ever have any questions for these developers, the VR guys are the ones to talk to. AAA games might not respond as well to you, but if you ever have questions and you're interested in getting this kind of stuff, reach out to them. They're great people. Talk to them. Learn.
Definitely.
If this is what you want to do for your future, they're there for you.
Like, I mean, it's a give and take with that, because sometimes, like, they'll ask questions, in the VR developers will give answers, but they also get feedback from you guys too, and to improve on their own games as well. So it's like, it's a good community, and yeah, it's yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for our dev chat panel today. Thank you everyone again for joining us. Thank you to the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Many more panels for Recon later on in the day, and then we have some tomorrow. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And one more big thank you to Reggie for having us from
Hey,
Strange
thanks
Game
for having me,
Studios.
guys. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
awesome. Alrighty.
Alright, hello everybody. If you want to cycle the camera back, Atlas. Wrong camera. Put this down here. Alright, welcome back everybody. Lights please. There we go. Welcome back everybody. We are going to be doing our the making of Recon panel here. It's kind of just going to go over some of the things and challenges we faced kind of creating the Recon panel and kind of the monumental pieces and foundations that made it possible for everybody to kind of come to this event and have some fun. There will be a QA stuff, so if you want to figure out like how you want to run your own events or have different questions, that'll happen with the live chat as well as the live audience that we have in the background here. So I'm here with Jay and Star Centurion. Say hi or
Howdy.
what's up to them. And we'll just kind
Hello.
of go ahead and get started. So hope everyone is doing well. Retcon was a convention kind of idea brought up by Jay. Do you want to kind of talk about your like what started this inspiration and what kind of brought up the topic of wanting to host the Retcon convention?
Yeah, so it all started with the idea of just trying to get a Game Awards like ceremony in Rec Room, where I suggested having well that actually turned into the Ink Showcase. So showcasing upcoming rooms from creators, as well as maybe an awards show that was scrapped pretty quickly. And from there, we kind of like started giving ideas of like stuff like the expo halls, panels, events, and in the end, it turned into what we are at today, which is Retcon.
Incredible. There was lots of stuff that kind of went on with that too, right? I remember, I think it was, gosh, 2-ish days, 3-ish days before we announced. I was put on the project with you to start the Recon project, and we had all these ideas written out. We needed to get it all put together and everything put into a cohesive little like project that we could all try to work on together. So it was a bit of a rush. I think put together a little developer blog about the making of Recon as well. So it was a project. How about you, Star? You want to talk about the things that you were involved in with Recon?
Logistically speaking, I was involved with the expo hall, so all the different booths and the categories. All in all, we had a total of 139 booths, which I think is amazing. So in getting those all in definitely was a challenge. You know, this is the first time running such an event, and it definitely we definitely learned a lot, and we know how to improve for next time. But still, 139 booths, just amazing. I do have to give a very special shout out here to OnDog and Blazer, who were very, very helpful individuals when it came to placing in booths, and would love to, very enthusiastic to come in and help. Very appreciate it, you two, seriously. And another note I do want to add is the originally the system for the booths was going to be, we were going to individually schedule with the how do you say it, the person who was in charge of the booth. We were originally going to schedule like a time, and we would like meet up with them and have them place their booth at the hall. But you know, when you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of applications and hundreds of people, this just wasn't realistic. And this was last Sunday, a week ago almost, we only had 9 of them down, like 9 booths placed total. So we had to get the other 129 left, and somehow. And we instead resorted to another, we instead just had people save their booth as an invention and give us the invention name. And there we could just place it ourselves without having to schedule anything with anyone. And that was obviously the much better solution there for that. So very, very difficult challenge, but we'll definitely find ways to improve on it, iterate.
Definitely. And I know that we ran into a lot of problems there when we were trying to go over and like place the booths within inside the expo halls. There was a little bit of a bug issue kind of happening with some inventions not being able to be saved by certain players. Thankfully, that's been fixed as of now. But during the preparation phase of Recon, we had a lot of hurdles and troubles trying to get all this boost done. It extended the time frame for placing all that stuff exponentially much longer than it should have been. But we're super happy that we had so many booth applications. We went through so many applications. I think I went through was it 300 or 400 along with Atlas. Thank you, Atlas, for helping out with that. And Star, I think, helped out with some of that application process as well. Super monumental trying to get that done. I also want to thank, I think, Alpaca, Al. He also helped out with getting some application approvals too as well. We're going to have a whole different process hopefully for the next time, guys. We'll have even more booths for you to check out at the next Retcon too. You know, whenever that does happen. Spoiler alert, Retcon 2 and T21, anybody? Gonna happen, probably. Maybe. All right. Everyone's yelling in the audience, but we can't hear them. But we're super excited and super happy that, you know, we have such a successful launch with so many players wanting to join the room and have some fun and, you know, kind of hang out and get some free items. Of course, you know, that also has its own challenges. There's so many players joining in the first like couple hours. It's so many performance things that we're keeping like people from joining rooms, some events and panels kind of crashing out there. So we're gonna hopefully have some better plans to handle those in the future. But guys, there was over 5,000 people this morning at Recon, and there's still thousands of people actively in Recon right now. It's incredible, guys. Absolutely amazing. I really appreciate the support that we've been given for this project. That being said, you know, there's all this sorts of other stuff that we kind of worked on with Recon too. You know, our panels and events. Those had their own hurdles. Mama Monkey helped out a ton with scheduling of those panels and events towards the end of the process. Those were kind of a bit challenging, actually. We ran into the issue of trying to figure out how we wanted to have those panels displayed, what things we could possibly stream on the YouTube channel, right now. And of course, you know, how many people could join, and what would cause for some performance issues. So we're still kind of workshopping that. You know, we hear your feedback. We hear that people want to join all these panels and events, but only 40 people is just such a small percentage of people that are wanting to attend Retcon. So hopefully next time we'll be able to live stream even more panels than we did today. And we'll have, you know, all sorts of things you can attend. So that way everybody gets a, you know, a little piece of the fun. So that's kind of what I have to say about the, you know, the panels, events, and booths and that kind of stuff that I was part of in creation of stuff. We had some other things too. The Builders project that was crazy. So you guys didn't know, especially this is on a developer blog. That's what you can read all about it. There's all sorts of pictures, all sorts of fun moments. This Recon project was built in its entirety in a time span of about 3 weeks, which is pretty small. We went from the process of the idea creation, form creation, announcements, the creation of the rooms, panels, everything within that small time frame. The build project was a group collaboration by a ton of different people. I think I'm going to name off a few people. There was Blazer that was there. There was Shadow 122798, I think is their name. There was gosh, I should get my list. We had Sharky, we had Snox, we had so many more players that kind of helped us out. I think there was like 11 or 12 builders helping us get this project complete in that short time frame. So thank you guys so much for helping us with that for the event builders. It was such a fun project to work on. Oh man. So I guess at this point, we'll kind of open it up for some live questions. You know, if you guys have some questions about maybe hosting your own events or panels, or you know how you can create cool events like this in Recon, we'll have you take a hold of this microphone and talk into it to ask your questions. Go ahead and raise your hands. I think I saw here. Hey, I'm Jay. If you want to come over here, I'll hand you off the microphone. All right.
So are you fixing, like the builder's hall and the artist halls, are you fixing to add like a gadgets hall or something for next year for gadgeteers?
Okay, yeah. So next year, it kind of depends. We had some plans to do a gadget like expo hall or circuitry space like expo hall if we had enough booths to actually apply specifically to do circuitry. What we were going to do is just enable circuits in that specific hall. That way people could see circuits, learn how to build them, and kind of see what's going on there. We'll see how it ends up next year because there will be probably Circuits V2 by that time. It's currently in beta, but if Circuits V2 is there and if it has to be visible, then that's something we definitely want to showcase. And we definitely have a ton of creators that can, get some good feedback there and show you guys how that all works. So next time we will probably have a gadgets expo hall or circuitry based room, at least so you can see the actual circuits and see how those creators do stuff for the next time. We need people like you in the audience and also IMJ to apply for your circuit booths and showcase those things. Right. You want to ask another question? Raise your hand if you want to. You from last time, Fusion Z, Fusion K, I believe. Want to come over and take the mic?
Okay. Okay. When is Recon coming out for Outcast Quest 2?
Okay. Not exactly a Recon question.
I know, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you want to take
Eventually? Yeah.
Soon
yeah.
TM?
Why not developers?
No, we do that a lot already. We have to say something else.
I can't believe it.
Eventually copyrighted logo.
Yeah, like
Eventually
eventually the R with the circle. Yeah, you know. If you know, you know. Okay.
I love you, chat.
Alright, well, you guys
thank you.
get an I love you chat. Oh man, that's great. Next question we had, I think I saw your hand first. Watch_Fox. Come up.
I've got a question actually. So my question is, ever since you guys made the Retcon live, there's been some technical difficulties with room space and all that. Do you think for the next live Retcon for this week, do you think you'll up the space more?
So we have seen some performance issues with like the Recon like rooms being kind of lagging out some lower end performance issues. So like Quest is kind of crashing, iOS is crashing when they're in large instances. As far as fixing that for this particular convention, very possible. We will likely adjust the room like player cap to be a little bit smaller than it is right now for tomorrow. So hopefully that alleviates some of the issues people are seeing right now. So kind of look forward to that. We're aware of it. We are, and we're going to try to fix it very quickly. So it's just been a constant stream of events today, so we haven't had the time to do that just yet, but we'll get to it.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have a couple questions.
a lot
One more
from
here
this
and then a
side.
couple over there. A lot of them over there. All right. Do we want to do Mav and VR? Do you want to come and take a mic and answer your question? Or ask your question? Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on a sec. I think I need to turn on voices. Okay, go ahead.
So it's not really much of a question. I was just really curious if you guys could just share like your favorite thing out of all of Recon.
Sounds like a question to me.
Yeah, sir. You want to talk about it?
My favorite thing so far, well, I know we a bit selfish, but it's like I mostly help the expo hall, so it's been really nice just walking around there this morning and seeing like everything in action, seeing all of the like people who are holding booths there, just sitting at their booth and people going up to them and asking them questions. Besides that, just seeing all the panels, all the live streams. Harry and Ryu have done an amazing job with the live stream so far. So, 2 thumbs up
Well,
there.
thanks, Sar.
Just the overall atmosphere definitely feels like definitely feels like a convention in VR, which I think was the goal. So we're doing pretty good on that.
Yeah, yeah.
How about you,
Anyone
Joe?
else?
What's
Any
your
favorite
favorite thing?
moments so far?
Other than Ink Showcase,
My
I
favorite.
swear.
I was gonna say, other than Ink Showcase, my favorite thing has been just going around the public instances and just seeing everybody just hang out, and I actually like people make friends with other people, and just I just like walking around and yeah, hanging out. That's really cool to see people do this.
I agree.
Great.
And
Sure.
yeah, did you
I'll
want to
talk
share
about my
also,
favorite
right? I
thing.
was really I was really interested in your yeah.
Okay. So for me personally, of course, the entire event is super amazing. Like I'm super appreciative of the entire community as a whole being able to attend this. I'm super happy about that. For me, um, my favorite moment of Recon so far has been just meeting all sorts of different people from all sorts of different communities, especially when they first come into Recon and their first reaction to that is just like, wow, this is incredible. Coming into that entry room, getting their little Retcon hoodie so we can all kind of have matching outfits. It's super, super fun. Man, I just love seeing everyone's like reaction to that initial room coming into that Retcon. It's my favorite thing about this convention. And I just love the community, guys. It's just, thank you so much for coming. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for answering my questions.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I think from a couple of times we have Emmett Nuggets, and then after that, SBR Lover and Xander. So, Emmett Nuggets, if you want to come up and take the microphone.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yeah, my left hand lost its tracking. Never mind. So, I'd like to ask, are you planning on making the servers more stable for next Recon, as there was quite a bit of crashing sometimes?
I mean, from what I've been able to tell, a lot of the crashing is mostly performance related. However, there were some the servers are definitely spinning up this morning. I don't know if you joined the room and a lot of people were just player names on top. Yeah, those are the servers waking up along with us. So, but no big server hurdles. We actually ran pretty good, all things considered, and we had some pretty impressive player numbers. So we held up today.
That also being said,
Oh,
we do hope that there is some better like performance in general as we continue throughout. That's up to the developers, of course. Not something that we as the community team are necessarily able to fix. However, for this event, we are trying to make it so there's a less burden for the amount of players that are going to be at Recon. So hopefully, the smaller player sizes will lead to less crashes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, chat. And I watch your videos. Thank you. Bye.
Great. SPR, if you'd like to take the microphone.
I waved and I thought they.
Oh, geez. Okay. What would you say has been your biggest hurdle with making Retcon?
Look, a camera.
Okay.
I don't think that's
Let's start with this. Let's see. Jay, do you want to talk about your hurdles that you've encountered in this process? Your biggest hurdle?
Ooh, mine would probably be rounding up everyone and recording the Ink Showcase. We had to do a lot of takes for that, and it was not easy. As easy as it may look on the final video, we had so many takes that we had to do. So that was probably the biggest hurdle for me.
For a while it was for me specifically in the expo hall. We had a bug you may know about it. The trigger zones resetting on room saves, and this happens when you have more than two or more people in the same room building, and lots of people coming in and leaving. And thankfully, we found a workaround, which is it's a very weird workaround, but basically the authority player of the instance has to save the room, and no one can leave while they're building. That's the workaround, which is very hard to determine, but it's a workaround nonetheless. And we're actively, this is a prioritized issue, should be fixed soon. But yeah, well, in the first half of the week, while I didn't know this workaround, it was just a lot of saving the room. The trigger zones were reset. We had to go back and fix all the trigger zones, which would affect player booths, and as well as just the invisible collision that surrounds the booth hall. It was kind of a mess, but we made it through somehow. Yeah.
It's still going, sir. It's still going. Yeah. But we had all sorts of like miniature hurdles like this to go through, that kind of thing. I'd say that, for me personally in this, having done a lot of it, uh, my biggest hurdle that I've encountered in this whole thing is something called scope management. So for those of you that are not aware, scope management is kind of something that it's like how big your project is supposed to be. So initially starting out with this, it was just a small little project, a small little idea, but it just kept on getting a little bit bigger as we wanted to add a couple more different things. So like you want to add some panels, you want to add some events, you want to add some officially hosted events such as like YouTuber panels. So now you have to communicate with all these different YouTubers, and there's a lot of people management, a lot of coordination. I think for me, I took a lot of it on, and I had a lot of trouble delegating as much as I should have in the short time frame. So like my DMs were swamped. I've had over literally 1,000 message over the course of this project, just directly to me to handle specific aspects of this project, which have all been answered to the most part, for the most part, I think. So that's been a huge hurdle, just kind of that scope management and managing my hours to get there. I have been working long days, long days. But I would say that's probably the biggest one I've overcome and that I've encountered. And just working at it as long as I can, as hard as I can to make this happen is how I handle to get that, just pushing through it. You know, the smiles and happiness and all that kind of stuff that you guys are given in return is making this payoff is huge for me, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, SBR. That's a good question.
Thank you all for bringing this together.
I think that, who did I say was next? Okay, yes, Xander, go ahead. After Xander, I'm gonna do Krabby, Octopus. Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. This isn't really related that much to Recon, so I'm sorry for that, but I just wanted to know, what are your guys' favorite games to play on Rec Room?
I think we can answer that. Sarah, do you want to go?
Well, when I wasn't how do I say it? When I wasn't trying to play in Recon this entire week, I actually dug a lot into Beat Saber multiplayer with some friends, and it's a good change of pace from being in Rec Room all the time. Beat Saber gets you going, so flashing the blocks and yeah. So I've been enjoying that one a lot.
How about you, Jay?
I like that as the question was asked. Was the question of a VR game that we also like other than Rec Room?
It was in Rec Room, but that's fine.
Oh, all right, in Rec Room.
Oh,
It's
laser
fine.
tag.
I'll let Sarah answer
Easy.
first. I would say Short Fuse.
I see that thumbs
a
down,
cus-
Atlas. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would say Short Fuse. It's a custom room made by Clarity VR and his team. Probably one of my favorites.
I saw that, Atlas.
All right. Now, this shouldn't be a big surprise for anybody here that has seen me on any live stream ever. But guys, can you guess what my favorite game is in, Rec Room?
Paintball.
Camera. Alice. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna switch the camera, are you? All right, I'll walk over here. Guys, it's laser tag. Oh my gosh, Atlas, seriously. Hear the laughing in the background. Okay, yeah, no, my favorite game is laser tag in Rec Room. I've spent thousands of hours playing just laser tag in Rec Room. Out of my like I think 4,000 hours in Rec Room in total. I don't know. I think about that long. So, Alice, please.
Oh my god. We have a very professional camera crew.
I wanted so I'm gonna spend this moment to also thank Atlas for helping out with kind of helping me with Retcon here, and he's been he's been doing some stuff behind the scenes for me, and especially like right now over the course of today, he's been just like a really great help assisting me with the live streams, kind of managing some cameras, making sure I'm where I need to be. So couldn't do without you, but
I've literally been
Alright.
your assistant today, but I appreciate the praise.
Yeah, Atlas. Give it up.
thank you for the question. That was very good.
Thank you guys for answering it. Here.
Okay, so I think the next one that I had was Cabby Octopus 631. Wanna come on over? And then after Cabby, we'll do Toodles.
Oh, I changed my name to Mr. Meatus.
Your turn after that. Do you have your question, by the way?
All right.
What was the best part about making Rec?
Retcon. During like the building process, like what we enjoyed.
Yeah. Mhm.
I would say probably for me. So I played some parts. Alice. Okay, there we go. I played some parts building in the specifically the park entry like subroom area that you're in. I really wanted to make it kind of feel like it was kind of like you're just arrived at the con, you flew in, you're at your hotel, you woke up that morning and you're getting out of that hotel room, you're gonna walk to Recon, you know, the convention, that kind of feeling. I really hope that was conveyed with that room, but I really enjoyed you know, kind of building that part like of the room during that process. It was probably one of my favorite parts, aside from everything else. What you guys?
Well, again, since we are mostly holding in deep in the booth halls, my favorite part was definitely just so again, like I said earlier, it was OnDog and Blazer were the folks that were primarily assisting me with that project, and it was just fun making jokes, placing down booths. It was awesome. Like honestly, could not have had better building buddies in that entire period. Yeah, there you are, OnDog. You see OnDog in the audience there. Everyone give a good clap to OnDog for helping out with the project. I don't know if Lacer's around here either, but if they are, also for them, please. Thank you. Yep. And this is that. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite parts of building Recon.
I guess it's probably going to be about the ink showcase, right, Jay?
I don't know. It's a feeling I have as well. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, my favorite part was about the ink showcase. It was just getting all those amazing teams of builders together, showing their rooms and like just all around, just plan to like organizing this entire thing. It was really, really, really fun. Definitely, to be specific, my favorite part of it was writing the script for when I would be on stage and when everybody else would be on stage, taking their scripts and like making a huge script for everyone. That would definitely be my favorite part.
Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Toodles, if you'd like to step up for the microphone. Toodles, we'll go with you.
Wait a second, they just dropped it there.
Oh, can you say that again?
What's your guys' favorite booth you've seen so far?
Favorite booth?
The question is, what is your favorite booth that we've seen at Recon? This seems like a really good question for Star since this is your special area, right?
Well, okay, it's cheating, but all of the art booths, those are all amazing. You all did great. Yeah, Thank you, Ondok, for reminding me. There's the Stanley Parable booth, which is also like awesome. They've been building it, like they've been building a copy of the Stanley Parable in Rec Room for a while now, and they have like a little 5-minute like demo booth where you can like, it's like the broom closet part of Stanley Parable. If you played it, it's basically that in a booth, and it's awesome. Other standouts are both of Yoshiro's booths. It was like the Pocket Club, with the pool table, and their Twisted Minds booth changes the mood outside of the booth. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's all I gotta say on that.
I would have to agree with Star on the Stanley Parable booth, and for Yoshiro's Pocket Billiard Club. Those are both my favorite as well. Really well made.
Yeah, those are really good booths. I think Yoshiro's booth was one of like 2 booths which were also made by him that used moods in their booth. That was really cool to see where the moods around them kind of changed to accommodate the space. It was really interesting. As far as my favorite booth, aside the ones already mentioned, I think my other favorite booth was probably the Laser Tag League. Shout out to those guys. You can join their
Oh, how
Discord,
did I
join the league.
forget? Yeah.
I know, Star. Come on. But Laser Tag League has their booth there. It's pretty cool. It looks pretty neat. There's like a little golden pistol, and they have a like a space that looks like the carpet at the Laser Tag like room, and a door that opens up into like a picture or Polaroid of the laser tag map, Cyberjunk City. So I just like the design of that one and the design choices they made for it. It looked really nice, really polished. It looked like the laser tag booth, the store. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go with JCHD next, and then we're gonna go with AMJ again, and then we're gonna end with Mr. Over there. Okay, if you'd like to ask your question.
My question is, what will happen with the Recon room after all events?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I haven't totally worked this out just quite yet. However, Alex, you're doing a great job. I really appreciate it. Okay, anyway,
Sometimes I just like filter you out.
It's all right. I'm used to it. To answer your question, Retcon is going to be publicly available for Saturday and Sunday. That's when the hoodie will drop. As soon as Sunday ends, the end of the day, PST time, the hoodies will no longer be available. They're no longer going to drop. That's it. Okay? That being said, Recon itself will still remain open for at least a couple more days. We possibly might have some changes that happen to the convention center within those couple days, so keep an eye out for that. It will likely remain public for everybody, but with those changes in place, I'm not going to spoil it. That's the most I'm going to give you guys. But yeah, that's probably what's going to happen after Recon. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I am okay. We'll go with you next.
Okay, so is there? Let me think about what. Are you gonna do something for next Retcon on since the YouTuber panel that got filled up extremely fast and it caused extreme problems with like it saying the room did not ever exist and things and all that stuff. Do you have are you working on ideas to make sure that that is not going to happen again?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. This was actually something super unique that I've never seen before, where an event just straight up says the room doesn't exist when it totally does. We're pretty sure that deals with the fact that there was 5,000 people that signed up for that event, which is I think the most I've ever seen, ever. So it probably caused some issues. That being said, kind of our solution that's in the works for fixing that is probably going to be where we host a YouTuber panel privately in the future. We'll likely just take questions from the chat like I did this morning, which I will be doing as tomorrow as well. For those of you in the stream chat right now, that's going to be a live stream tomorrow. I'll be taking up the questions, answering those questions. But the event itself will either be private or it'll be very, very limited slots for tomorrow's YouTubers panels. But in the future, we're probably just going to live stream it so that way if people that want to attend those high like high bar events where there's tons of people that really want to go, it'll probably just be live streamed to our YouTube channel. Hopefully in the future, we'll figure out how to live stream more than just one event or one panel. We really wanted to, but for whatever reason, we're not able to stream with more than one person on the Recon YouTube channel right now. We're going to try to figure that out and see if we can do multiple at the same time so we can highlight more events and panels for next con.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Also, Atlas, I'm gonna rate you 5 stars for best cameraman. Yeah. Thank you very much.
5 out of 10 or 5 out of 5? This is a very important question.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Hell yeah. I'm a top tier cameraman.
Okay, I think it's who's this? FGTV. If you want to go ahead and pick up the mic to ask your question.
Oh, I think she skipped over me.
Or wave. That's great.
That means you.
You got this.
Hey, freeze. Come on.
All right, we're gonna move on. If you want to ask a question or something of that nature, please raise your hand so I can figure out who would go next. Okay, so we're gonna start with OxVR, and then we're gonna go to Mellow Jello after that. So OxVR, if you'd like to pick up the microphone, ask your question.
Okay, I may lose hand tracking like 3 times over the course of this. Okay, so I kind of wanted to build on, I think, a question somebody else asked, maybe 3 or 4 questions ago.
Yeah.
So will there be kind of like a rec room gallery or like a invention tower kind of system for when this con is over? Like, will this instance be saved so people can go to it later?
So that kind of delves into the thing I kind of hinted at earlier with the changes that might happen to the convention center as a whole. How do I want to word this? We will see. However, soon TM. Man, this is kind of like a spoiler too. All right, if you guys don't want to get spoilers, stop the stream, tune it out, mute the stream, come back in exactly 1 minute. It's a really short answer. All right, I'll wait for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. Okay, spoilers. So we're probably going to make it so you are not able to see the booths that were there because when the convention is over, everybody packs up and goes home. That being said, there will be some emptiness to the Recon, so it's a bit of a special event. You can still go to Recon. However, you will not be able to see all the different booths that were there at the time because the event has concluded. At least that's the plan. All right, spoil is over.
That does make sense.
All right.
I gotta go take
thank you
pictures
for the
of my
question.
booth now.
All right, who did I say was next? It was...
So are you done raising
Was it
your hand? Where
Emmett?
do you want to go?
Emmett Nuggets?
Are you in
Or...
cardiac arrest?
I don't know.
Oh no, it was Mellow Jello. Mellow Jello, if you want to come up and take the microphone to ask your question. And we'll go
Popping gamma.
there.
What was the hardest thing to make in Retcon?
Okay. So do you guys want to talk about your side of stuff, or do you want me to just take this
I mean, every part of it, like, poses a challenge in one way or another. And I don't know if it's really possible to answer this question because we all worked on different areas of Recon to ultimately build it into what it is now. You know, obviously, Jay did the ink showcase. I worked on the expo halls. Ryu did most of the admin and like administrative, like scheduling. I know Mama Monkey did the panel events, that sort of the scheduling for all the panels, all the events, etc., etc. And then a lot of other people. We have obviously Atlas with the cameras. We had Paka with the helping us go through the spreadsheets and get all of the applicants in. So, just a lot of different stuff. Not sure what was the hardest, but it was all very difficult to a degree.
Yeah. So I do actually have a very specific answer for this one as well. The room that we, I think, part of the event builder team is something that I kind of administrated was the project manager for during the development process of Recon. One of the things that we worked on that posed a lot of roadblocks and iteration was the park room that I mentioned earlier. I mentioned that I loved working on this room when I was part of it too, but there was so much iteration and changes that were made to this room over time. It looked completely different from what it looks like in the final product. And there was very many stages where we went through it and we started building certain adjuncts and certain things and we're like, okay, this feels done. It feels like we could do something with this. And then we just completely delete the entire thing and start all over again because we're like, no, this doesn't work. We're going to change this up. We're like, okay, this looks fine. No, let's just change this all up again. Let's recolor everything. Let's delete everything. Let's make it all grabbable. Let's be able to climb, that kind of stuff. It was a very long iterative process. There was lots of different changes. I think that was the longest room that we took to build because of how many people were involved and kind of iterating on that particular design until it came to what it was today. Again, tons of work in progress pictures are on the developer log, which is on the Rec Room website. If you want to check out like the work in progress pictures from the start to the finish, it's just on recroom.com. I think it's just the developer blog. It should be the most recent one. But that's the one we had that had the most troubles, the most roadblocks that we had, and we had to work through a lot of those. Good question. Thank you. All right. So for our next one here, we're going to do Fusion, and then we're going to go to SMMB, and then Emmett Nugget. Okay.
Okay, this is a question for Star Centurion. Okay. So.
Howdy.
So, how do you pronounce the laser sniper in this game? Is it railgun or sniper rifle? Everybody's been wanting to know this.
I failed to see how this relates to Recon and Recrom activities.
What did you start? What have you
Jay
started?
is staring at you very intensely. This is the
What have
rivalry
you
of the
started,
century.
Okay, look key, it's a sniper, but don't tell Jay, who's right behind me and probably can hear me anyway.
I can answer this as well. It's a sniper.
Okay, see, you heard it from him. It's a sniper. There you go.
Yes.
Welcome to sniper.
Alright, I guess that's the answer to your question. Thank you very much for that. We have our next one here. What did I say was after Fusion? Do Emmett Nuggets. Emmett Nuggets, if you want to come down.
What's the definition of a sniper?
I just wanted to.
Hey, can you
My question. Oh. Okay.
Hello. I have two.
Okay.
First of all, how many people did you need to make, Recon happen? Like to build it?
So for the build project in particular, we had a total of 11 other builders, excluding myself, so technically 12, with myself included. A lot of the project was actually built by Blazer and Nox as far as the 3D Maker Pen art that goes around. There was some help from a bunch of others as well. So Sharky was helping out there with some circuitry that was involved. Aster was helping out with some of the smaller decorations. And a couple other people that I have failed to mention because I have a poor memory after today. I've been in there for a long time. But we have about 12 people that actually did the building part of Retcon. As far as the administrative part of Retcon, which is a completely separate thing from the building of the event in and of itself, where we had, oh gosh, I think it was like 6 or 7 people at the very end. At the beginning, it was just myself and Jay, who was going to do the ink showcase while I did the rest of the stuff. And it eventually got delegated out, and Star started helping with the expo stuff, while I was helping, kind of coordinate things and make sure I'm not going insane. Mama Monkey's doing some scheduling and all this other stuff. So, there was about 20 or so people involved in the entire Recon creation process. And your second question?
Oh yeah, my second question is, because in like the main hub and loads of places, loads of people have been saying that they're going to like rickroll like one of the people. So have any of you been rickrolled today during Recon?
Have you guys been rickrolled?
No.
I would say
they're
I have
not
not
doing a
been
good job.
rickrolled. I can't say I've been rickrolled as of now, but I'm never gonna give you up anyway.
All right. Well, I can say I've been rickrolled an entire one time during this event. Thanks, Jay.
Okay,
Really
thank you.
appreciate that. Where? All right, guys. So we have time for one more question, then we're gonna wrap it up for this particular panel. So let's see. Trying to select you real quick. SMMB. You wanna step up to take the microphone and ask your question?
What are your plans? What are your plans for Recon in the future?
Okay.
Good question.
Gamma, can you switch the camera or Alice? So Recon, potentially 2021 might happen. Things are kind of not totally planned yet. We were going to base our decision on if we wanted to continue doing Recon events based on the success of this one. Which, by the way, guys, if you check out the room, let me see this real quick. People, 63,000 people have visited this event from today. Incredible. So we've had some great success. We're probably going to do this again. Even bigger, even better, even more streamlined, even less hassles and less problems for all sorts of people. So hopefully we'll be back next year. Maybe towards the beginning of the year, maybe towards the end. We'll let you know. And we'll be back for more Recon 2021. Ooh. But thank you very much for that
Good note
question.
to end it on.
If you want to hand it back to Alice. All right. So we're about at time here. We're going to need to start wrapping up our panel for the making of Retcon. Thank you so much for coming and asking your questions today. We really appreciate you joining us. It's been a blast. There's still some more stuff you can check out. We have a couple more events planned for the rest of the night. I think one starting right after this as well, which we may actually have on the live stream from my perspective. So stay tuned for that live stream. We'll be back very soon. Thank you again so much for joining. If you like our videos, make sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know, do all the social medias, share it around, talk to your friends, make some new ones. It's been a blast. And we'll see you very soon.